Hi, I'm Scott, and welcome to Heroes Among Us, and also welcome to our new studio. So, as I said, things are getting refined. We're working on the lighting, we're working on some technical issues. Things will get better as time goes on. But I wanted to put something out today in remembrance of September 11th, 2001. And today's episode is titled Hope the Bear. Everyone has a September 11th story. I'm just going to briefly tell you some of my story and what happened uh, to me that day and in the following weeks. Um, September 11th was on a hot Tuesday, and I want to apologize up front. I'm battling through one of those summer colds, so my voice is a little raspy. Um, but anyway, getting back to it, September 11th was on a hot Tuesday, just like any other Tuesday. The day before, I was actually at the Pentagon with some people from my office, and I was in the black world at the time. We had just started this thing called counterterrorism, and I was brand new to it. So I was in kind of that section of the government, thus my little black world trophy here. Um, so we're at the Pentagon the day before. I wanted to go that Monday, September 10th, because I just hated traffic in DC and I just wanted to get over with it. So by the grace of God, I went on Monday. But half of our office went there on Tuesday. So as everybody knows, the morning progressed. Things went pretty crazy. Um, we were inside what's called a SCIF, a secure classified information facility. So basically, we were locked in a vault. We really had no uh, touch with the outside world. So one of our security guards called and says, "Hey, you guys need to come out here and watch the TV. A small plane just hit the World Trade Center." So we thought, wow, that's pretty crazy. That's kind of hard to do. So we walked out and we're watching the TV. And as a volunteer firefighter, I'm thinking how I would fight that fire. And Jesus, people are going to die. Um, from the looks of the building, it was a pretty bad hit. So they were talking about this little light plane hitting the World Trade Center. We were standing out there watching it live on TV. And then all of a sudden, the second tower got hit. And we just couldn't believe it. It took a minute for the brain to actually connect what was going on. And I remember my boss very sternly looked at me and he said, "We're at war. Go get your kids. We need to close up the office." And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was still trying to grasp with what was going on that day, what had happened, and he tells me that we're at war and it's on our own soil. So we started closing up the office. He got on the phone and was trying to call our group that was over at the Pentagon, and it was just almost impossible to get through lines. Remember, cell phones were brand new back then. We didn't have texting, and we couldn't get a hold of him that way. But he kept on trying and trying. So he finally gave up and he called our program manager at the Pentagon. And he was talking to our program manager, and our program manager just informed him that they had just left and they were on their way back. And all of a sudden, the line went dead. So my boss just assumed that, it was because of bad communications that day. And that was kind of happening. So my boss kept on trying to call our team on the cell phone, and finally they answered and they said, "We're on our way back. The car is destroyed. There was a huge car bomb in the parking lot of the Pentagon. We're under attack and we're going to get back as soon as we can." So they made it back. The car was pretty severely damaged, had tar all over it. Some of the windows were broken. It was all scarred up. And we started putting everything together. Naturally, I went home, got my kids, and my boss called, and he knew I was a volunteer firefighter. And he said, "Look, if you want to, there's a group of volunteer firefighters that are also government employees. They're going down to the Pentagon. Go ahead and go down and help." He also informed me that when the phone went dead, that was when the plane impacted and our program manager was killed. So he was on the phone talking to him when he was killed. So I went down to the Pentagon. I went to our program office and I helped on the recovery operations, and then came home. And I remember my daughter telling me, "Daddy, how could people hate us so bad? How could somebody do this to us?" And I didn't have the answer. And I remember it being very, very strange because I lived under the flight path to BWI Airport in Baltimore, and there were just no planes flying, but there were military jets flying over, and that was very weird. So everybody was trying to grasp the situation and grasp what happened. Went back to work for a few days, and then my boss said that I could go up to ground zero. So I had to make a business trip up that way, and I stopped by ground zero for a while. While I was there, pictures, videos, it just doesn't do it justice. Was just total sensory overload with the heat coming up from the pile, all the massive buildings destroyed. It was really too much for the mind to comprehend. But we were walking into the pile one day to do some search and rescue, and this little girl kind of broke out of the crowd, and everyone was cheering us on. And she ran up to me, and I had all my fire gear on, and she hugged me, and she handed me this little bear. And this little bear was Hope. She handed me this little guy. Um, and it brought tears to my eyes. So Hope has stayed with me every day since then. She's been in every office that I was in the black world, in the FBI, and at the prison where I'm a warden. So Hope stays with me. She went on missions with me. She always stayed beside me, and she's my good luck charm. So as long as I live, Hope will be with me. Anyway, I will go into the story in greater detail some other time about 9/11, but I just wanted you all to know about Hope the bear and how important she is, and I wonder what happened to that little girl. So anyway, everybody stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making it this far through the video. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to grow this channel into something really big. So thanks a lot. Love you guys, and take care. Out.